My name's Avi Rachlin. I live at... Tonight I will be sharing with you my personal experience dealing with the Robbinsville Municipal Court thus far. April 7th, 2021, while I was traveling down 195, I was pulled over by a New Jersey state trooper and cited for going 86 in a 65 zone. Thankfully, I had a dash cam and other technology in my car that unequivocally proved that wasn't the case. I was prepared to fight this ticket. My experience with your court started out quite nicely. A plea hearing was immediately scheduled within a week, and the court personnel, Carol Gaynor and Hailey Goudie, were friendly. Fast forward to my plea hearing, I get a phone call from Christopher K. Koutsouris, the municipal prosecutor this council hired. He offered me a plea. I declined. He then stated the following, and these are direct quotes. I recorded the phone call. Quote, "I'm going to set your matter down for a trial. You'll get a trial date from the judge, and we will go from there." End quote. Quote, "Anything you want from me, you need to make a discovery demand in compliance with Rule 7:7-7, and you can find that on the New Jersey Judiciary website." End quote. Also on my ticket, that officer didn't specify how he got my speed. So I asked Chris, quote, how did the officer get my speed? Quote, to which he candidly replied, "That'll be in discovery." At this point, I'm excited. The ball is rolling. I listen to the prosecutor and do everything he says. Just like the prosecutor promised, I'll get access to all of the discovery, have a trial, and my case resolved. However, that wasn't the case. In addition to mailing the prosecutor my discovery demand, I also mailed the court some pretrial motions. First, I'll address the discovery package I received from Chris. Now, when I mailed Chris my discovery demand, it was extremely thorough, an entire page long. In part, it stated, quote, the relevant body cam, dash cam, radio activity, calibration certificate, radar operator certificate, weights and measure certificate, radar checklist, speedometer, calibration certificate, image of the ticket, including what was written on the back of the ticket, if any, and any other relevant information about this ticket, end quote. What I got from Chris via email, May 13th, 2021, was just the CAD abstract, which included the unredacted social security numbers of my father and I, because my father owned the vehicle that I was driving. And the reason I'm upset about this is because this also exchanged hands with Donna Spart of the Records Bureau. So there is an email with myself and my father's SSN in multiple inboxes in cyberspace. That is reckless and puts myself and my father's identity at risk. He also sent me a cut-up, single-muted video of the officer's dash cam. That's it. I still don't know how the officer got my speed. Chris did not comply with my discovery demand. Next, I'll address the pretrial motions I sent in. On April 19, 2021, I mailed the court a motion to dismiss based on a lack of jurisdiction. On May 9, 2021, I mailed the court an amended version of this motion to correct an error that I made. The reason I sent this motion is because I was able to cross-reference the dashcam video, GPS data, and officer's dashcam to determine that where the alleged speeding took place did not happen in Robbinsville. It didn't even happen in Mercer County. It would be like me allegedly speeding in Freehold, which is in Monmouth County, the getting pulled over in Jackson, which is in Ocean County, and then the officer citing me for speeding in Jackson's courthouse, even though the officer alleged I was speeding in Freehold. Different town and county. The court simply had no jurisdiction over this matter. Now, up until this point, I had not received a new court date, but had been keeping tags on my case using the online NGMC Direct portal. While I never got a notice to appear, I noticed there was a date listed online that had my matter scheduled to be heard May 20th, 2021. Confused by why I had not received a notice to appear, I contacted the court. I was informed that date was a meeting exclusively between the judge and the prosecutor to review and rule on my motion. Let's pause for a second. I'm not invited to a hearing related to my case? That doesn't sound fair. The prosecutor gets to be present, but I can't be? That's a serious problem. However, I was not bothered as my motion was bulletproof. So I waited until May 20th, 2021, passed, and checked online. I noticed instead of my case being dismissed, it was rescheduled for another hearing in late June. Confused again, I called the court to figure out what was going on. I was informed that the prosecutor requested a 5-week continuance, and the judge granted it. I wasn't allowed to contest this because I wasn't there. Furious about the delay, May 24, 2021, I sent the prosecutor and a judge a letter informing them that I was invoking my Sixth Amendment right to a speedy trial and demanded a trial be held within 30 days. Initially, I was pleasantly surprised checking online a week later to find that 5-week continuance was moved up quite a bit to June 17, 2021. I figured that I was finally going to have my trial Chris promised me. However, the notice to appear I received in the mail for that date stated it was a hearing on my motions only, no trial. I didn't really care because I figured that the case would just be tossed during the hearing on my motion. Fast forward to June 17th at 11 a.m., I'm ready to go. I attempt to join the Zoom session that was listed on the summons, but it didn't work. I then call the court to inform them it isn't working, and they tell me they messed up. The time on my summons and my hearing wasn't actually until 1 p.m. Having already cleared out my entire schedule for the day, I wait until 1 p.m. and attempt to join the Zoom session. It still isn't working. I called the court again, and it turns out I was given the wrong Zoom information. I finally got the correct Zoom information, and I'm now in the waiting room. And I wait, and wait, for over an hour. But the moment eventually comes. The judge joins, and so does the prosecutor. It's showtime. We all do our little intros, and then the judge says it's time to decide my motion. Before I could utter anything, Chris threw out an objection. What was he objecting to, you may ask? He was objecting to the entire hearing because I didn't mail him and the Mercer County prosecutor a copy of my motion. Let's pause for a second to break this down. Number one, there was a private hearing May 20th on my motion, which the judge got a continuance on. There was no way he was unaware I had filed my motion at the time. When I called the court staff, they never indicated to me it was due to Chris not receiving copies of the motion. Number two, Chris knew a motion hearing was going to be held. It was written on my notice to appear. If he didn't have a copy of them, he could have called or emailed me. Number three, nowhere in the pretrial procedures does it state I have to serve copies of anything on county officials for municipal matters. Now, any reasonable person would surmise that since the address of the prosecutor, judge, and court is all the exact same, I could just send one copy to the court and it would be distributed appropriately. In fact, I have dealt with other municipal courts where this exact thing happens. But Robbinsville, being special, apparently requires you to write the names of everyone on this envelope or it doesn't go to them, or so they say. Unfortunately, the judge bought this nonsense and refused to rule on my motion and continue the case. That's another thing that is unique to Robbinsville. The judge requires a pretrial hearing on motions. Once again, in all of the municipal courts that I personally dealt with, judges are able to rule on pretrial motions anytime they're in the office. No need to schedule. Frustrated but determined, I mail out 2 sets of certified mail copy.
Mike,
yes.
Listen, this gentleman, I mean, this sounds to me like a legal matter.
That 100%. I was going to let him.
Listen to him for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know how we're waiting.
Well, I emailed you guys, and you said there was no time limit on speaking, and I'm going to finish this, and it is...
I'm fine.
Okay.
Listen, I believe we're going to direct this to the court administrator.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. But go ahead.
All right. Send out 2 sets of certified copies to Chris and the county prosecutor. I figured this has to be it. I found out that my next court date in late June was delayed because Chris needed more time. His excuse? He needed more discovery from the state police. Now, keep in mind, at this point, we have exceeded the 30 days.
Excuse me, sir, I hear you, but I mean, again, how much more time do you think you need to...
It shouldn't matter. I emailed you guys prior, and you said there was no time limit on speaking.
Excuse me?
I said it shouldn't matter. I emailed you and was told there was no time limit on speaking.
Well, unfortunately, this is a legal matter, and there's other business that needs to be done.
I have one more page to go.
Okay, thank you, then. Please move on there. Just want to get one more thing.
One more page. Go ahead.
Okay. It's not my problem that the state police aren't responding to Chris. Our founding fathers specifically added the 6th Amendment to prevent prosecutors like Chris from keeping my case status in limbo indefinitely. In fact, Chris is so shameless that he delayed my next court date in July all the way in August for the same reason. Side note, for my July 14th court date, I called in advance to make sure I wasn't needed for anything. I was told just that. I then woke up July 14th to a missed call from Chris because he needed to talk to me about my case. At this point, I have had it, and that is why I took the time out of my day to be here today. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you have no clue what is going on in your municipal court, but now you've been put on notice. A courthouse is meant to dispense justice. So let's recap. You have court staff, Carol Gaynor and Hailey Goudie, who are either neglectfully or willingly making countless errors in the scheduling of my hearings, and you have a prosecutor, Christopher K. Koutsouris, who was holding my case hostage and constantly continues my case without a judge or myself allowing to review and contest it. I'm going away to college next month, and I don't want to be bothered with this ticket. However, the last thing I will do is plead or give up. You won't get my money and you won't win this case. My next court date is August 5th, and let's hope after this appearance, it will be the last. With all that being said, I am owed answers to the following questions. Is this council aware of how the municipal court handles cases? Is this council okay with my rights being violated? Will this council fire Carol Gaynor and Hailey Goudie? Will this council file Christopher K. Koutsouris? Thank you.